Liz Ruskin is the DC correspondent for Alaska Public Media. She was locked in the Capitol and then later evacuated from the building. Liz Ruskin joins us now from Washington, DC. Liz, g'day. So, yeah, what was it like being inside?
I have to say, I am still locked in the Capitol. We got from one part to another part, but I'm in a basement in the Capitol complex and waiting to get out of here. Although, it's really not terrible being locked in. We were locked in. It was safe. We could hear all this struggle going outside of the doors where we were locked in. And there was a lot of, I was locked in with other journalists and we were saying, don't open the door. It's like, no, God, no, I'm not going to open the door. And it was really bizarre.
Yeah, so Liz, just take us back to the very beginning. Where were you inside the building when you realised something was going wrong?
Well, I was, reporting on the events of the day, shuttling between the House and the Senate, and I have a little booth just outside the House chamber, and I came in to do some work, and suddenly they were saying, we're locked in, we're locked in. And then we had a commanding view of what was happening on the west side. And so we watched, the law enforcement response. We saw the law enforcement kind of losing. We could not see what was going on elsewhere in the building. We could just hear the struggle outside our door.
Yeah, so did you physically see any of this mob that was running through the Capitol?
Did not. Some of the footage I'm seeing that you're airing now, I never saw this video. So, what really strikes me, though, is that 4 years ago, I was on that West Lawn when President Trump was sworn in, and he made that speech about carnage in the inner cities of America. And, I live in D.C. I live in an inner city, whatever that is. And it just did not strike me as true then. And it sure seems true today.
Yeah, Liz, I just want to ask you, we've seen protests before, but this crosses a line, doesn't it? And just give us a sense of how much tension there is there now and what this moment, in your view, signifies.
Well, I think the difference is that the violence that we saw before in counter-protest was in the city, it was downtown, and it was not in the Capitol, which is, a temple of democracy. And it just, what does it signal? I mean, it signals that we are not the country that we thought we were. We never had this kind of violence in, the modern era, at least, of when the transfer of power. The peaceful transition of power is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
When you say we're not the country we thought we were, looking at what's happened today, haven't you had an insight into that over the last 4 years of the Trump presidency with everything that he has said, including this morning, when he said to this rally outside, we will never give up, we will never concede, we will not take it anymore?
Yeah, every day has been a realization that we are not the stable democracy that we took for granted.
And as someone who's, how long have you worked in the building?
I've been this stint since about 7 years.
Wow. Okay. So this stint, there have been other stints as well. And so,
Yeah,
as someone who's obviously passionate about a job and passionate about democracy, what was it like for you to see these people running through the area you work in today and shots being fired?
Well, I didn't find out about the shots being fired until later. But I have to say, I have not had a moment really to collect my thoughts. I was in reporter mode all day and being a journalist, and it just didn't feel like there was time to react to any of this. And in some ways, I'm the least informed person because I've been locked down in the Capitol for hours. By the way, I hear our House members are in similar rooms locked down and are planning to come out of lockdown soon. I just feel like in the days to come, I will be able to form impressions about what's going on. But I've just been in order mode.
Yeah, but yeah, so there's no kind of sense of shock for you now because you're still in reporter mode, and it sounds like the House is going to resume in the next hour or two. Is that what you're hearing?
That's what we're hearing, yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely shocking. It's shocking. It's disturbing. I don't live here all the time, but Washington has become my city, and it's just really sad.
What do you make of the way that Donald Trump has handled the presidency and his language to his supporters over the last 4 years?
Well, that's a big question. I've been struck by the erosion of fact and how his supporters are so convinced that they are on the side of right, that they are trying to now save democracy, and they just aren't entertaining the idea that they are subverting democracy.
And their belief that this election was stolen from them. What do you make of the fact that they actually believe that?
I don't know how we get out of this. I don't know how we come to be a country that knows what truth is and has, critical thinking and evaluates news sources. It just seems like belief has been substituted for knowledge and fact. It only matters what you believe.
And the role of the journalist, of which you are one, will be so important over the coming years. Liz Ruskin.
Or irrelevant, hard to say.
Yes. Sorry, Stan.
No, I was just going to add, and Liz, you would have seen this over the last few years, the increasing increasing partisanship, rather, of the media itself, with different sources, different media organisations taking up different political, adopting different political positions. That's become part of it, hasn't it?
Well, there's the fact-based media, and then there's the media that's not based on fact. There's room for all kinds of opinions as long as your news is based and your information is based on truth and fact.
Okay, Liz Ruskin, on an extraordinary day, it's been extraordinary to chat to you, still locked inside a room in the Capitol, and yeah, I can really feel identify with your thoughts, your sentiment about still being in reporter mode. You're in this situation, but you're still in reporter mode, and the Congress is going to resume, and you'll keep working there. So thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat to us, locked inside the booth there at Washington DC.
Thank you.